Let's throw some jabs.
The fight starts now!
All right, Sergio, Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia finally came face-to-face in New York on Wednesday at a press conference to promote their April 22nd fight. It's a fight you can buy on DAZN pay-per-view. There was some drama with Tank Davis arriving 2 hours late for the presser, and some spice when the two stars went nose-to-nose at the face-off, but we are officially full steam ahead for this mega fight. Sergio, both these guys possess fight-changing power. What is the X factor, though, for you in this fight?
Well, the power is not going to be an X factor because everyone knows both of them have big power. So I'm going to go with Tank and his height, man. He's 5'5", which is really short for that weight division. But he's made a career. Tank Davis has made a career fighting taller, longer fighters. He knows how to time that power. He knows how to time that length, that speed. All he needs to do is assess the situation. And that's the reason Tank Davis always starts off slow in fights, because he needs to get past that length. He needs to get past that reach. And once he's on the inside, we know what he does. He's destructive. He's going to be able to rip those shots, sneaky uppercuts, come over the top with that big left hand. But it all starts with cutting that range down, being the shorter fighter. So I think that's going to be Tank Davis's X factor.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the power in Ryan Garcia's right hand. Now, a lot of people focus on the speed and knockout power in the left hand, but Ryan Garcia has crushing power in the right hand. You go back to the Romero-Duno fight from a few years ago, he wobbled and dropped Duno with a big right hand. Now, one of the reasons Ryan had a year-plus layoff after the Luke Campbell fight was because he had a hand injury in that right hand. He came back against Emmanuel Tego, and he wasn't all that comfortable using it. He was more comfortable against Javier Fortuna, but now in this training camp, one of the things that I'm hearing is that Ryan is really unloading that right hand. So I think that's going to be another weapon at his disposal in this fight, because Tank's going to go in thinking about, conscious of blocking or avoiding that quick twitch left hand. If Ryan can find a home for the big right hand, I think that's going to be something that could be a major, major factor in this fight. Let me ask you one other thing, though, about this fight, Sergio. The mental advantage coming in. You watched that press conference. Tank Davis is comfortable. He was 2 hours late for a reason. He shows up in a big jacket, sunglasses. He has been here before on the pay-per-view stage. Ryan Garcia is not. Is that an X factor in this fight?
Pay-per-view stage doesn't mean anything. It's who's in the attendance, how many people are there, how many celebrities show up. Yeah, both of them are stars, but both of them are accustomed to being in the limelight. So I don't think pay-per-view or not, I don't think that's going to make a difference. The fact that he was late in mind games, I don't think that makes a difference. That's just being unprofessional on Tank Davis's part. Ryan Garcia is not going to be fazed by that. He's the one that made this fight happen. You heard Davis say it himself. His mouth got him into this fight. It wasn't the promoters. I mean, they weren't quick to make this fight. It was Ryan Garcia and his large social media following. It was his barking that got him into this fight. So now it's time to bite. Both these guys say that they're dogs, and we know that Tank Davis wants to test a dog in Ryan Garcia. That's what another thing that makes this fight interesting. We haven't seen, Ryan Garcia really get mean, but he doesn't fight mean. He gets off the canvas. He knocks guys out when they hurt him. That's dog to me. Tank Davis, on the other hand, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen him hurt because he does all the destructive power combinations in there. He knocks guys out. So there's a lot of questions to be answered in there. As far as what we saw in the press conference and the talking, I don't buy too much into that.
Yeah, but Sergio, you know that when you're on a bigger stage, there's more adrenaline running through you. There's more anxiety going into the fight. Tank Davis, forget the press conference, put that aside for a moment. He has been the main event in sold-out venues that have headlined pay-per-views, whether it's his most recent win over Hector Luis Garcia, his win over Rolando Romero. He has been in this position many times before. Ryan Garcia has headlined before, but he's never been in precisely this position. Even the biggest fight he had to date against Luke Campbell, that happened on the back end of the pandemic, so it didn't have quite the atmosphere that it probably would have had if not for the pandemic. I think it's going to be something going into this fight, how Ryan goes into it mentally. Is he as calm as he's been going into previous fights, or does the magnitude of the moment somehow affect him? We know it's most likely not going to affect Tank Davis. We don't know yet how Ryan Garcia is going to respond to it.
nobody knows how they're going to respond to the moment, but some guys are born for it. And you're telling me Ryan Garcia is not born for the limelight, for being under the
No, I'm
bright
not telling
lights?
you that.
So what are you saying, that this moment is going to overwhelm him? No, man, that's what he's been working for.
I'm just saying, Sergio, we're
Both
talking
these
X
fighters.
factors here. We're talking variables here. We're talking about, all the things, the ingredients that go into this fight. I think that's one of them. That
And I
Ryan
told you the
Garcia
X factor.
is a relative newcomer to the stage.
The X factor for Gervonta is going to be his height and the fact that he's accustomed fighting taller fighters. The X factor for Ryan Garcia is not power. Both these guys got power. For Garcia, it's going to be the fact that he's been down. He's been tested. He knows how he's going to react. He's not going to be surprised. He has that over Tank Davis. The fact that Davis has done all the knocking out, he hasn't even been scratched or hurt. That's the X factor here on both sides, Mannix.
I don't disagree with you there, Sergio, but you're going to sit there and tell me that you had the same feeling and the same energy going into a fight with Walter Kronberger as you did the main event against Peter Manfredo in front of like 14 million people on NBC. It was the same feeling.
Yes, because the fight's in here, man.
That's a lie.
No,
That's nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense. How would you know? You never fought in front of anybody. Look, when you're in the gym, all you see, when you're inside the ring, all you see is lights. You don't see the crowd. You hear them sometimes, but you don't see anybody. So there could be either 500 people or 5,000 or 15,000 or 50,000. You don't see them. You're just feeling the moment. You see the lights, you see your opponent, you see the referee. That's it. So as far as the moment,
that's just not true. That's it. Maybe for you, fine. I'll take your word for it, but that's just not true because I've talked to many fighters that have said that the atmosphere, the crowd.
Yes, walking into the ring. Walking into the ring. That's when you absorb it. Walking into the ring. That's when you look around. That's when you feel it. That's when the song, you feel the chills. You hear the roar of the crowd, the applause, the boos, whatever. Once you're in that ring, it's over. That's it. All that's tuned out.
Let me, how about this? Let me tell you a quick story that Buddy McGirt told me before the Kovalev fight.
Please.
Buddy McGirt trained Clifford Etienne before Clifford Etienne's fight against Mike Tyson. And Buddy McGirt told me in the locker room, Etienne was all locked in, ready to go, believed fully that he was going to knock out Mike Tyson. Then he gets in the ring. Then the music hits, and then Tyson walks out in that white towel with the hole cut in it, throws it on the ground in front of Etienne. And Buddy McGirt told me in that moment, he saw Etienne's soul leave his body. So don't tell me that the moment doesn't matter when it comes to the outcome of the fight.
The moment was when he was walking out into the ring. Once he got into the ring, that's a different story. But don't compare Etienne to Garcia and Tank. Both these guys got more popularity in social media followers and in the fact that everywhere they go, they get recognized. They know how to handle that moment because they've been part of it for such a long time already. These kids are different than a lot of these other, grizzled fighters. They know how to handle it. They know how to handle that attention.
Walter Kronberger was a tough test for you.
I whooped his ass.